The sun rises over a small, sleepy barangay in Cebu. The streets are quiet, except for the rhythmic sound of a hammer and saw. Mang Arturo, an old Filipino carpenter with hands calloused like weathered wood, wipes sweat from his brow. His small workshop smells of freshly cut timber and varnish. For decades, he has built chairs, tables, and doors, not for fame, not for pride, but for his family's survival. Inside the workshop, dusty light falls on a worn guitar resting in the corner. Every evening, after the long hours of work, Mang Arturo picks it up and sings softly. His voice is rough yet full of life, telling stories of hardship, perseverance, and dreams deferred. His neighbors shake their heads. Too old, they whisper. It's too late to dream. But Mang Arturo hums a little louder anyway, imagining a stage far beyond the barangay, far beyond the islands he knows. His children watch silently. Papa, his daughter says gently, it's not too late, Pearl America's Got Talent, that's huge. Are you sure? He smiles, the lines of age deepening around his eyes, and nods. Para sa pamilya, para sa pangarap, he whispers. For his children, for his grandchildren, for all the sacrifices he has endured, he will try. Weeks pass, and Mang Arturo works tirelessly to save enough. He pawns a cherished, handmade guitar, one that has been with him since his youth, to buy a plane ticket. His neighbors gather at the pier to wave goodbye. Some shake their heads in doubt, others offer quiet blessings. Mang Arturo boards the plane with a heart full of hope and hands roughened by years of labor. Arriving in the United States, the overwhelming scale of the AGT stage almost silences him. Backstage, surrounded by flashing lights, cameras, and contestants half his age, he grips a borrowed guitar, trembling. He takes a deep breath, closes his eyes, and imagines the workshop in Cebu, the smell of sawdust, the sound of his family cheering him on. Kung kaya ko pa ito, para sa kanila, he mutters under his breath. If I can do this, it's for them. The camera fades as Mang Arturo steps toward the stage curtain, the sounds of the audience reaching his ears. A carpenter from Cebu, carrying decades of dreams in his voice, is about to show the world that it's never too late to reach for your dream. The spotlight hits the stage. Mang Arturo steps forward, his worn shoes tapping lightly against the polished floor. The audience murmurs, curious. Simon Cowell leans back, skeptical. Heidi Klum gives a polite smile. The other judges glance at each other, unsure what to expect from this elderly Filipino carpenter. A microphone is handed to him. He clears his throat. What do you do for a living? Simon asks, eyebrows raised. I am a carpenter, sir, Mang Arturo replies, his voice steady but soft. And your age? Howie Mandel asks. 68, he says simply. A ripple of laughter flows through the audience. A few heads tilt, whispering, he looks so ordinary. But Mang Arturo does not flinch. He gently sets his guitar on a stand and adjusts the strings. The camera pans to the audience as he takes a slow, deep breath. He closes his eyes and strums the first chord. The sound is warm, tender, and surprisingly rich for someone his age. Then he sings. At first, the notes are quiet, almost fragile, but every word carries the weight of decades of struggle. Mornings under the scorching sun, missed birthdays of his children, nights of prayers whispered into the darkness. His voice cracks at times, not from weakness, but from a life fully lived. The room grows silent. He sings of sacrifice, resilience, and hope, universal truths that resonate far beyond the Filipino community. The audience leans forward, captivated. Flashbacks play on the LED screen behind him hammering boards. Teaching his children to work hard, smiling despite hardship, rebuilding homes destroyed by typhoons. By the chorus, Mang Arturo's voice rises, not in volume, but in intensity. It is raw, authentic, and filled with soul. Heidi wipes a tear. Sophia nods, visibly moved. Even Simon Cowell leans forward, his steely expression cracking ever so slightly. As he finishes, the last note lingers in the air like a prayer. The audience is silent for a heartbeat, then erupts into applause. The camera captures Mang Arturo bowing, overwhelmed, a faint smile breaking through tears. Simon leans back in his chair, whispering almost to himself, that is real. In that moment, everyone realizes, this is not just a performance. It is a lifetime of dreams, sacrifices, and love poured into every note. As Mang Arturo's first notes fade, the camera slowly zooms in on his weathered hands, still resting gently on his guitar. The stage is quiet now, but the story behind his voice begins to unfold, through flashbacks, memories, and the weight of a life lived in quiet struggle. We see young Arturo, barely a man, hammering nails under the tropical sun, sweat dripping from his brow. His stomach growls as he works, yet he refuses to stop. He knows every chair, every table he builds puts food on his family's table. The scene shifts. A typhoon tears through his hometown. His workshop is flooded, his tools scattered. Yet Arturo wades through the water, salvaging what he can, singing softly to keep his own spirit alive. His young children cling to him, their eyes wide with fear. Arturo hums a tune, a lullaby, promising that everything will be okay, even when he is unsure himself. Back on stage, Mang Arturo's voice begins again. This time, it carries the full weight of his journey, hope and despair intertwined. He sings of missed birthdays, of nights he went hungry so his children could eat, of the silent prayers whispered under the stars, and of dreams tucked away in the corners of his heart. Every note feels raw, lived, and profoundly honest. The judges are captivated. Heidi wipes a tear, her hand trembling slightly. Sophia covers her mouth in awe. Simon Cowell, known for his stone-cold critiques, sits forward, his eyes glistening, voice barely audible as he mutters, "I can't believe this is real." The LED screen behind Mang Arturo flashes images of his life, hands covered in sawdust, a worn guitar, his small family gathered around a modest meal, his exhausted but proud face. Each image mirrors the pain and resilience that has shaped every note of his song. As the chorus swells, Mang Arturo's voice rises, not just in volume, but in emotional power. It is no longer just a song, it is a declaration. A declaration that hard work, sacrifice, and undying faith in dreams can transcend age and circumstance. When the final chord echoes across the stage, the audience gasps, tears streaming freely. The applause is thunderous. Mang Arturo lowers his head, overwhelmed, as if he has finally unburdened a lifetime of stories in just a few minutes. Simon Cowell sits frozen, eyes wet. For the first time, the hard-nosed judge looks utterly moved, almost speechless, as the audience rises to their feet, cheering and crying in unison. The stage lights glimmer like stars, reflecting the golden hope that one man's voice can touch millions. The applause fades, but the echoes of Mang Arturo's voice still linger in the theater like a sacred hymn. The camera pans across the audience, faces wet with tears, hands pressed to mouths, hearts visibly moved. The judges sit in stunned silence, struggling to find words. All except Simon Cowell, who leans forward, eyes fixed on the Filipino carpenter. He clears his throat, his usual stern tone softened by something rare, vulnerability. "I've judged thousands of acts in my life," Simon begins, voice trembling slightly. "And I've seen a lot of incredible talent. But very few remind us why we care about talent at all. Not because it's perfect, not because it's polished, but because it's real. And you are real." Mang Arturo bows his head, swallowing tears, his hands still shaking from emotion. The audience leans in, hanging on every word. "You didn't sing to impress us," Simon continues, voice breaking. "You sang because you had to, because every note carried decades of sacrifice, of love, of resilience. You are the voice of everyone who thinks it's too late to dream. Tonight, you proved them wrong." He pauses, struggling to compose himself. For a man who rarely shows emotion, this is extraordinary. The camera captures the glint of tears in his eyes. The audience starts to clap softly, then louder, until the entire theater is a thunderous ovation. He gestures toward Mang Arturo with open arms. "I've been a judge for years. I've seen children, teenagers, adults, but never someone like you. You remind us that life is about heart, faith, and never giving up. I can't even put into words what you've just done here." Mang Arturo, overwhelmed, bows deeply. His voice cracks as he whispers, Salamat po sa lahat." The Filipino audience watching at home clutches their chests, tears streaming, feeling every word. Children who have grown up hearing their parents' sacrifices see hope. Parents who have labored silently feel recognition. Every single viewer in the Philippines feels the weight of Mang Arturo's journey. Simon steps back, still visibly shaken. He whispers almost to himself, "I don't do this often, but tonight, this is why I judge talent. Because it touches lives." Because it moves hearts. Because it reminds us, dreams never have an expiration date. The camera slowly pans across Mang Arturo's face, golden lights reflecting in his tear-filled eyes. The stage is silent for a heartbeat, every heart holding its breath. And in that moment, the world knows, something historic is about to happen. The stage is silent now, but the tension is electric. Mang Arturo stands at the center, still trembling, guitar in hand, sweat glistening on his brow. The applause from the audience has faded into a quiet, expectant hush, as if the world itself is holding its breath. Simon Cowell rises from his chair, taking slow steps toward the Filipino carpenter. He pauses a few feet away, looking directly into Mang Arturo's eyes. His voice, normally sharp and unyielding, trembles with emotion. "This isn't just a performance," Simon says, almost whispering. "This is a message. To every father, every mother, every worker, every dreamer who's been told, it's too late. Tonight, you proved them all wrong." Mang Arturo bows his head, overwhelmed, tears streaming freely. Simon lifts his hand toward the golden buzzer, the iconic red button gleaming under the stage lights. "Mang Arturo," Simon continues, voice breaking, "you remind us all why we never give up. Because no matter your age, no matter where you come from, dreams can come true." Boom! The golden buzzer slams down. Confetti explodes across the stage, sparkling like golden stars. Mang Arturo drops to his knees, covering his face with his hands, sobbing uncontrollably. The audience erupts, cheers, claps, tears, and cries blending into one powerful roar. Back home in the Philippines, his children and grandchildren huddle around a tiny television in their modest living room. Their mother clasps her hands to her chest, whispering prayers of gratitude. Neighbors gather outside, watching on a small screen, some unable to speak, some openly weeping. "Papa, Papa did it!" a child shouts, their voice trembling with joy. On stage, Mang Arturo looks up, golden confetti falling around him, eyes wet, lips trembling. He raises a hand to the sky, whispering, "Salamat po, Diyos ko, salamat sa pangarap ko, salamat sa pamilya ko." Simon Cowell approaches him, tears glistening in his eyes. He places a hand on Mang Arturo's shoulder. "You've changed everything tonight. You've inspired millions. And you've reminded us, the human spirit is unstoppable." The camera pans to the audience, judges, and the Filipino family watching at home. Every face is lit with hope, pride, and tears. Mang Arturo, the old carpenter from Cebu, has become a symbol of courage, perseverance, and dreams fulfilled against all odds. The episode closes with a slow zoom on Mang Arturo's face, smiling through tears, as the confetti settles. The golden light reflects in his eyes, the stage lights like stars, and a nation whispers together in awe. Kaya mo pala, Mang Arturo.